They said Trump would weaponize the Justice Department. They said he'd go after his political enemies and seek retribution. But what nobody saw coming was the FBI raid that just exposed one of the biggest cover-ups of the Biden era. And no, it wasn't Trump they were investigating. It's the man who spent 4 years calling Trump a traitor. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of all the madness as the far left desperately tries to stop the unstoppable rise of the new conservative age that you're making happen each and every day all over the world. So if you want a front row seat on how you are indeed changing the world in ways you never even imagined, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. One programming note, I'll be on the Tim Pool Show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, so make sure to tune in. It should be a lot of fun. At exactly 7 a.m. on Friday, August 22nd, FBI agents descended on John Bolton's multi-million-dollar Bethesda mansion and his D.C. office with search warrants that would change everything. Minutes after agents entered Bolton's home, FBI Director Kash Patel posted a message that sent shock waves through Washington, D.C. No one is above the law. FBI agents are on a mission. Attorney General Pam Bondi immediately amplified that message. Quote, America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued always. Now, originally we were told that this raid had to do with classified information that got published, that got improperly revealed in Bolton's tell-all book that he published back in 2020 to deliberately sabotage Trump's reelection. Well, it turns out that Bolton included classified information in that book, allegedly, I should say. Also, investigators are examining whether Bolton shared portions of that book draft with unauthorized individuals before receiving proper government approval. And the FBI reportedly obtained emails showing Bolton was indeed drafting his manuscript while still employed at the White House. And he shared early sections with his publishing representatives before those sections were cleared by national security agents. Keep in mind, Bolton got a $2 million publishing deal out of this. But we're now getting word that the reality is a whole lot worse than that. Sources revealed that the FBI was looking for evidence that Bolton illegally transferred classified information to his family members through private email servers, all the while serving as Trump's national security advisor. Moreover, Fox News is reporting that the searches, which lasted approximately 8 hours, they may have involved finding evidence related to Bolton supposedly making a lot of money overseas. And the concern here is that Bolton may have been trafficking in intelligence. Now, among the charges that Bolton could face here includes violations of the Espionage Act. That alone would be 10 to 20 years in prison. It includes unlawful retention of classified documents, illegal disclosure of national security information, and then the doozy of them all, potential treason if he is found to have sold intelligence for profit. And get this, 2 separate federal judges had to approve these search warrants, which means there's overwhelming probable cause that Bolton committed serious crimes. And so to that end, FBI agents removed from Bolton's home and office computer equipment, including a desktop CPU capable of storing sensitive data, multiple boxes of materials, various documents and files, the specific contents of which have yet to be publicly disclosed. But here is the kicker that's got the deep state in such full-blown panic mode. This is not primarily about John Bolton. As it turns out, this is about the whole of the deep state complex and how it attempted to bury what John Bolton did. We're now learning that the Biden DOJ deliberately killed an active investigation to Bolton in 2021, not because Bolton was innocent, but because he had become their ally against Trump. A federal judge had already warned Bolton in 2020 that he was likely violating national security laws and could face criminal prosecution when he published his book. But Biden's DOJ ignored the judge's warning and let Bolton walk scot-free because he was politically useful. He helped sabotage Trump's reelection and became a major advocate for the Biden administration. This is what's completely overlooked, or better, buried, deliberately buried, by the legacy media's fabricated narrative in all of this. They're trying to make this all about Trump and retribution, when in point of fact, this is the reopening of an investigation that began in 2020 and it was shut down by the Biden administration without any comprehensible explanation. In other words, and here's the astonishing twist in all of this. The FBI raid of Bolton's home and office exposes the true weaponization of law enforcement by the Biden administration. They had probable cause to prosecute Bolton, but they chose politics over justice. And so fundamentally, this is not about revenge. It's about accountability, objectively so. And for the first time in years, we've got a Justice Department that follows the law instead of political calculations. But you know what's the sweetest part in all of this? It's the poetic justice in seeing John Bolton's own words coming back to haunt him in real time. And you know, the other poetic justice is how even though snakes like Bolton continue to rig the system in favor of elites, there's actually never been a better time for ordinary Americans to flourish financially in the new American golden age. That's precisely why I personally work with Block Trust IRA for my crypto investing. And what I love about Block Trust IRA is how they solve the problem of Bitcoin's volatility, because they use a super AI system that works 24/7 to analyze global market data, and it predicts with uncanny accuracy the highs and the lows of crypto volatility. Block Trust IRA then sells at the highs, and then they buy again at the lows, which mitigates the volatility, all the while you stand to make incredible gains. That's why Bitcoin Magazine has named them the #1 crypto technology platform in the world, among 1,500 global competitors. I'm a client, and I can honestly say, gang, I love them, and I think you will too. Their mission perfectly aligns with President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda, smashing down the barriers between loyal patriots and the financial freedom that you deserve, helping true Americans build impressive wealth in Trump's historic economic boom. So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a truck driver, small business owner, retiree. This is your chance to get in on the crypto market with AI mitigating your volatility risk. So what are you waiting for? Click on that link below right now or visit turleytalkscrypto.com and find out how they can help you join the Trump financial revolution that's finally giving forgotten Americans access to the greatest crypto wealth opportunity in history. And the best part, for a limited time, they're offering my viewers up to $2,500 in bonus crypto when you open up an account with them. It's absolutely amazing. Don't wait on this. Crypto created 80,000 new millionaires last year. Why not you next? Visit turleytalkscrypto.com. That's turleytalkscrypto.com.
Any given moment. But I don't think he cared about the classification system. I don't think he appreciated the sensitivity of this information, and he didn't appreciate the sensitivity of how it was often acquired, the so-called sources and methods. So this had been briefed to him before I arrived. It was repeated frequently. I think it simply had no impact on him whatever.
Okay, so now what you're seeing here is the iconic moment right after the Mar-a-Lago raid when John Bolton lectured President Trump and the nation on how to handle classified documents. It gets even better.
Well, it's very hard to speculate on motive other than that he liked cool things. He saw things so he wanted to take them, and he was pretty much able to take them, and not just on classified information matters, on all kinds of things that crossed his desk. Some days he liked to eat a lot of French fries. Some days he took classified documents. He wanted them. Why did he want them? Because he could get them.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. Seriously. Some days he took French fries and some days he took classified documents. I mean, this guy, John Bolton, is a certifiable snake. He went out of his way to slither from CNN to MSNBC to try to make Trump look unstable and unhinged and unserious. And keep in mind, he was making those remarks that you just heard within just months after the Biden administration buried an FBI investigation into how he himself improperly mishandled classified information. You'll note MSNBC did not bother to inform you on that. But they did not bother to inform their dwindling audience about that. Bolton was publicly warned back in 2020 not to publish his book with the compromising information entailed therein. And yet MSNBC drags his sorry ass in to vomit all over President Trump on issues that he was being investigated for. He himself, Bolton, was being investigated. I mean, it's just so sick. And there's actually a social theory behind that. What they're both doing there, both Bolton and MSNBC. It's a social theory known as elite deviance theory. How's that for a wonderful name? So apropos. Elite deviance theory. It proposes that those in positions of power often deliberately break laws or violate ethical norms, including mishandling or leaking classified information, because such law breaking actually serves as a status symbol. So, in other words, their ability to break the law with impunity and get away with it serves as a social indicator that they've made it. They're above the accountability of ordinary citizens and are therefore bona fide elite. So elite deviance centers on the idea that members of the political, corporate, or cultural elite, and this has gone on throughout history, they can commit offenses. Practically speaking, they can commit offenses with less fear of consequence because they operate in complex environments where oversight is actually reduced and punishments are lenient or inconsistent. They know the judges, they know the lawyers, they know the system. And they might justify their criminal activity as serving the public interest or fulfilling organizational goals, or it's all for democracy. But ultimately, they treat their ability to get away with nefarious activity as a status symbol. It's an actual indicator that they are above the law. And so all elite deviance ends up doing, ironically, is it just ends up eroding public trust and legitimacy in our public institutions. So their own self-serving narcissism ends up undermining the very viability of the rule of law they claim to be above. Well, as it turns out, no more. The man who lectured America about classified document security is now having his house raided for, wait for it, mishandling classified documents. That is what the deep state and legacy media are really flipping out over. This Bolton raid sends a crystal clear message to every deep state operative, every never Trumper, every swamp creature in Washington who lives in the cesspool of elite deviance. The era of consequence-free corruption is over. For years, these people thought they were untouchable. They could leak classified information. They could weaponize government agencies. They could destroy evidence without consequences. But Trump's return to power has quite literally changed everything. John Bolton spent 4 years positioning himself as the principled conservative who stood up to Trump, but the FBI raid just exposed him as potentially one of the most dangerous national security threats in American history. The man who called Trump unfit to be president may have been illegally trafficking classified information. The man who demanded accountability for Trump turns out was himself unaccountable, protected by Biden's politicized DOJ when he faced the exact same charges. Gang, this is what winning looks like. Not revenge, not retribution, just good old-fashioned American justice finally being applied equally under the law. Have you locked in your seat from my America Awakened Masterclass yet? Because seats are filling up fast. This is your shot to grab our Freedom Week discount before the price goes up. This isn't scripted. It isn't safe. And it sure as heck isn't censored. It's real, it's raw, and it's unapologetically patriotic, just like the early days of Turley Talks that helped ignite a movement. But listen, this discount won't last. Click the link, claim your spot, and join the rising tide of Americans reclaiming faith, family, and freedom. Let's light the fire of liberty and awaken America together.